Do you know how to answer a question in English, but not how to keep the conversation going?
Then this lesson is for you.
Today's topic is pets, one of the easiest and most natural topics for real conversation. First, you'll hear a real conversation.
Then we'll show you the most useful phrases and the kinds of follow-up questions that help the conversation continue naturally.
Let's get into the conversation. Today's topic is a really good one for conversation because people often become much more relaxed when they start talking about animals.
Yes, definitely. Pets are one of those topics that people usually enjoy, even if they don't have one themselves. It starts with a simple question, but it can go in many directions after that.
Exactly. And that's perfect for this series, because the goal is not only to answer a question, it's to keep the conversation moving naturally.
Right, so instead of giving one short answer and stopping, we want to learn how to add detail, ask follow-up questions, and react naturally.
So let's start with a very simple question. Do you have any pets?
At the moment, no, I don't. But I've had pets in the past, and I've always liked being around animals. What about you?
Yes, I do. And I think pets really change the atmosphere of a home. Even one animal can make a place feel warmer, more alive, and more personal.
That's such a nice way to say it. What kind of pet do you have?
I have a dog, and life with a dog is never completely still. There's always some kind of movement, personality, or little routine happening around him.
That sounds very true. Dogs bring a lot of energy into a home. What's he like?
He's very affectionate, very alert, and full of personality. He can be playful one minute and completely relaxed the next. I think that's one of the things people love about dogs. They often feel like very expressive companions.
Yes, definitely. And that's already a really good example of how to keep a conversation going. You didn't just say, "I have a dog," you added detail about character and daily life.
Exactly. That's the whole idea. So let me ask you this. Are you more of a dog person or a cat person?
That's always such a classic question. I think I'm probably a little more of a dog person, but I understand why people love cats too. Dogs often feel more openly social, while cats can seem more independent and mysterious.
That's such a balanced answer. So you didn't just choose one, you explained why.
Yes, because that helps the conversation continue. If I only said dogs, the topic might stop there. But if I explain my reason, the other person has more to respond to.
So what is it about dogs that you like most?
I think I like their openness. They usually make their feelings very clear. If they're happy, you know it. If they're excited, you know it. There's something very warm and direct about that.
That makes a lot of sense. So for you, dogs feel emotionally easy to read.
Yes, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
And what do you think people like most about cats?
I think many people like the calm independence of cats. They can be affectionate, but in a quieter way. And some people enjoy the fact that cats don't always need the same kind of attention that dogs do.
That sounds very fair. So maybe dogs feel more openly connected, while cats can feel more subtle.
Yes, I think that's often true. Of course, every animal is different, but generally speaking, that's how many people experience the difference.
Do you think pets reflect people's personalities sometimes?
That's an interesting question. Maybe not directly, but I do think the kind of pet someone chooses can sometimes say something about the kind of energy they enjoy in daily life. Some people like lively, playful animals. Others prefer calm, quiet companionship.
That's such a thoughtful answer. So what kind of pet do you think would suit your lifestyle best right now?
Probably a dog, but only if I really had enough time and structure for it. I think dogs give a lot, but they also need a lot, and I wouldn't want to have one unless I knew I could give it proper time, attention, and routine.
That's such a responsible answer. And again, it opens the door to more questions. For example, what kind of routine do you think a dog needs?
Regular walks, attention, play, food at the right time, and a general sense of stability. I think dogs often do best when life feels predictable enough for them.
That's so true. And pets in general often become part of your routine without you fully noticing it. Feeding times, walks, grooming, little habits, they shape the rhythm of the day.
Yes, definitely. That's one of the reasons pets are such a good conversation topic. Once you start, you can talk about routines, personality, responsibility, lifestyle, funny stories, or even childhood memories.
Exactly. So let's go there. Did you have pets growing up?
Yes, I did. And I think that changes how people feel about animals later in life. If you grow up with pets, they often become part of your emotional world very early.
That's beautifully said. What kind of pets did you have?
Mostly smaller animals at first, and later a dog. I remember how quickly animals become part of the household. At first, they feel new, but very soon it starts to feel like they've always been there.
That's such a lovely observation. And what do you think pets teach people?
A lot, actually. Responsibility, patience, consistency, and also attention. Animals don't speak, so you learn to notice small signs: energy, mood, movement, behavior.
That's such a strong point. So pets can make people more observant.
Yes, definitely. And maybe more patient too, especially when the pet is young, energetic, stubborn, or unpredictable.
Do you think pets also help emotionally?
Yes, I think so. Not in some magical, perfect way, but in very real, everyday ways. They give company, rhythm, and presence. Even simple things like hearing movement in the house, having something to care for, or being greeted when you come home can change how a day feels.
That's such a beautiful answer, and I think many pet owners would relate to that immediately.
Yes, the relationship is often built through small, repeated moments, not only big, dramatic ones.
That's so true. And once people start talking about pets, funny stories usually appear too.
Definitely. That's another reason it's such a good topic for conversation. Almost everyone who has had a pet has some story about strange behavior, funny habits, or unexpected chaos.
Yes, absolutely. Pets are often adorable and slightly chaotic at the same time.
Exactly. And stories are one of the easiest ways to keep a conversation going. If someone says they have a pet, you can ask, what's it like? How old is it? What's its personality like? Does it have any funny habits? What's the funniest thing it has ever done?
Those are excellent follow-up questions, and they work because they move the conversation forward naturally.
Yes, and they invite a real answer, not just yes or no.
Do you think people who don't have pets can still join this conversation easily?
Yes, definitely. They can say, I've never had a pet, but I'd love to have one someday. I don't have a pet, but I really like dogs. I'm not really used to animals, but I think cats are lovely. I'd like a pet, but I don't think my routine is right for one at the moment. So even without a pet, there's still a lot to say.
That's so useful. So this topic is flexible. It works for pet owners, former pet owners, and people who simply like animals.
Exactly, and that's what makes it a good conversation topic. It has warmth, but it still feels easy and everyday.
So if someone asked you now, why are pets such a good conversation topic, what would you say?
I'd say because they connect to daily life, feelings, memories, stories, and personality. People usually have something to say, and the topic naturally creates follow-up questions.
That's such a strong answer, and that's exactly why this lesson matters. We're not only learning pet vocabulary, we're learning how to build a real conversation from a simple topic.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's look at the key phrases from the dialogue and see how to keep a conversation going in English when you're talking about pets.
Yes, because this lesson is not only about animals, it's also about how to answer naturally, react well, and ask good follow-up questions.
A very natural way to start is, do you have any pets? Have you ever had a pet? Are you more of a dog person or a cat person?
These are simple, friendly conversation starters.
Instead of just saying yes or no, add a little more. For example, yes, I do. I have a dog. No, not at the moment, but I've had pets in the past. I don't have any pets now, but I'd love one someday.
That gives the other person something to respond to.
Once someone answers, ask something connected. For example, what kind of pet do you have? What's it like? How old is it? What's its personality like? Does it have any funny habits? What's the funniest thing it has ever done?
These are great because they invite stories and details.
Useful phrases include, he's very affectionate. She's full of personality. He's playful and energetic. She's calm and independent. Pets become part of your routine. They make a home feel more alive.
These kinds of phrases make your English sound richer and more natural.
You can still join the conversation. For example, I don't have a pet at the moment. I used to have a dog when I was younger. I've never had a pet, but I'd love one. I like animals, but I'm not sure I have the right routine for a pet right now.
So this topic still works even if you don't have personal experience right now.
Good reactions help the conversation continue. For example, that's lovely. That sounds adorable. That makes sense. That's so true. That's such a good point.
These small reactions keep the conversation warm and natural.
Here's one short model answer. Yes, I do. I have a dog, and he's very affectionate and full of personality. He brings a lot of energy into the house and really feels like part of the family. He can be playful and a little chaotic sometimes, but that's part of what makes life with him so fun.
That sounds clear, natural, and very easy to use.
So, as you can see, keeping a conversation going in English is not about using difficult grammar.
It's about answering with a little more detail, reacting naturally, and asking follow-up questions that keep the topic moving.
Exactly. And pets are a perfect topic for that, because people usually have stories, opinions, memories, and feelings connected to animals. And if you enjoy lessons like this, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people.
And it helps more learners practice real, natural English.
So subscribe, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next lesson.
Bye!